media quizzing is an activity where you will be presented with a video in your left-hand screen here, and then in the right-hand screen you will be presented with either text or questions. We ask that our videos do not autoplay due to the needs of people who might have some sort of disabilities. So even though you will see in our templates that we have the ability to do autoplay or not autoplay, our default is not to autoplay, and I would talk to your Cengage representative before you choose to have things autoplay. So as you can see, this one does not have autoplay, so I will be hitting the play button. You do have the ability to show a transcript, to turn on closed captioning, and to change the volume. These are all things, again, that will be talked about within the template itself. So when I hit the play button, I'm going to start getting a video. And what you'll see here at the end is that there's a highlighted little section here. Those sections actually could be throughout the video. And what would happen is I will watch the video until I hit one of these sections. So I'm going to just fast forward till I get to that section. And what will happen when you hit one of those is that the video will pause and you will be presented with questions. These questions can be of a variety of types. They can be multiple choice, they can be true false, they can be some of our more involved ones. Usually people kind of stick with the simple ones, but they can be more involved if you would like them to be. And you can have one, or you can have as many as you would like, depending on the needs here. What you will do as a user is you will answer those questions. So you can see we have a true-false one here as well as some multiple choice. If you are at the end of the video, you will be hitting your submit button, which will turn in your answers to your professor for grading. If there are more questions after that or more video to watch, this will actually be a next button until such time that you reach the end of the video. So that's kind of the overview of what a media quiz is. You do have the ability to have something displaying before you start the video. So here you can see that I actually already have something here in my right-hand column while the video is starting, and that's in case I want to have people starting to think about things before they watch the video. If there's an introduction that I want before the video, I want them to read, I can have that here. You can see, again, this one has 2 cue points, one for this initial material that's showing up, and then one at the end that it's actually going to have questions. So once I've actually answered this question, I will be able to go on to the next set of questions when I hit this cue point, and when I hit next, it's going to show the end of this video and present me with more questions. The nice thing about media quizzing as compared to our branching is that it is not nearly as complicated, and there's not as much material that you would need to fill out. So again, at the top, similar to our second tab with branching, is some basic metadata. We have, again, our print ISBN, the title of, not of the media quiz itself, but the title of the book or product that this is going with, the author of that product. Desired location helps us to understand where in the hierarchy of the learning path for this product that you want this. So is there a section, a unit, or a chapter that this will go into? Again, the content developer contact name, just so in case we need to internally contact somebody if we have questions. Vendor name, again, can be a single person, or it can be an entire vendor name. The creation date is, again, when it's created. Display items while media is playing. Again, this is a yes or no kind of question. You can see this is a drop-down. Again, our default is no, and before you would select yes, I would ask that you would check with your internal Cengage contact to see why that would be necessary. I'm sorry, that was autoplay. Display item at start while media is playing is the option to actually have that item showing prior to the video starting or during the video playing. So again, that's a yes or no. That you do not need to check with your internal contact. If you want something to be appearing at the beginning before the video starts or while the video is playing, you would select yes. The autoplay is the one where if you feel like it should start autoplaying as soon as the user launches the activity, you would want to check with your internal Cengage staff. So down here, everything in green is something that we will want our content creators to be filling out. And we will start here with the section name. The section name is really the file name or the video name that you want this material to go with. So usually it would be something like, I don't know, else video number 1. It can actually be the full file name if you would prefer that. You are going to have to repeat the file name over here in the master media file path. But it needs to have some sort of relation so that if you have multiple media or media quizzing that you're going to attach to or send to Cengage, as well as a number of videos that we know which video goes with which template. The media aspect here, you only have 2 options. You've got 16 by 9 or 4 by 3. Most people will choose 4 by 3 as the default, but again, that's something that you can work out depending on how your video is structured, whether it's more letterbox or whether it's more square. Let's see here. The item group name. The item group name is speaking of how many times you are going to want to stop your video and ask questions to people. So these are basically how many cue points are you going to have per video. So if I wanted to say have 3 different cue points, I could have item group number 1, item group number 2, and item group number 3. The video name should basically be the same for all of these since they're all going to be associated with the same video here. And then I can sequence my items. So you can see that I have 1 3 times here, even though there's only 3 item groups. The reason I did that is that I want to have 3 questions within each time I stop my video. Here I've got an item or activity type. You can see that this is not a drop-down list, but it does allow you to fill out what kind of type you're going to want. So I could fill out something like multiple choice, true, false, etc. This is really just to make sure that if we go back and are doing some QA, that we can use this template to make sure that we've got the right question type being displayed in the right order. This next column here is very important. It's our item cue point. The item cue point is basically telling us where we need to stop the video in order to present these questions. Every item is going to need an item cue point. The item cue point can never be 0, 0, 0, so we can never have an item at that before the video starts point. If you do feel like you need something right at the beginning of the video, you would set it to 1 second. That's to ensure that basically it'll start as soon as the video starts, but it will not cause any issues with the actual application itself. You would go through and put as many cue points as you want. Well, let me go to my already filled out one. So what you'll see here is a more fully fleshed out one. In this case, I've got 6 item groups. I've got an item group here that is only 1 essay question, and it only has 1 cue point. It's going to start at 1:14. I then have a second cue point or second group that has 2 questions, a multiple choice and a true and false, and these both have the same cue point, the 2 minutes and 25 seconds. I move on to item 3, or item group number 3, which again only has 1 item within it. It's a matching item, and that happens at 3:41, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, you can have 1 to many questions per cue point, and the cue points can have multiple items within them as long as they're noted as such. Everyone should have a cue point, so here at the end, I will need to put, even if I want the item to appear at the very end of the video, you should never leave anything blank. So let's say my video ends at 5 minutes and 50 seconds. I can put that there. And this allows me to have everything with a cue point. Things to note, as I said, you can never have a cue point of 0 seconds. You never want your cue points within 5 seconds of each other. This is because this can cause collision amongst the cue points. We have seen it work if it's 3 seconds or more apart, but we recommend 5 if you can structure it that way. Like I said, you can have pretty much any activity type that you want. The activities would actually be provided in a separate Word doc. As was noted in branching, we would actually have a separate Word doc that would have all of the information that goes into each of those questions. And that would be given with this Excel template. I'd be happy to show one of those if people want to see those during this session, but those are documented in some videos that we made earlier. But those need to come along with this Excel template so that we know what the content of those questions are. Finally, as I said, we've got our media title, which is the actual title that you want for your media quiz, like what is the title that's going to appear at the top to users. This master media file path, you can see that we have an internal system here in terms of what this file path is. Since you're not going to know that, you can just fill out the actual name of the video. So in this case, it would just be marketingvideo_1.mp4. And then somebody internally will put the full file path in once they have put it in place where it needs to go. You will see other items here. There's items in blue and items in yellow. The items in blue are filled out by our digital production team. The items in yellow are filled out by our assessment production team. Neither of those needs to be filled out when you turn this template in, so normally these would be blank for you. There are really good authoring documents that are out on the Content Resources site that you will be able to use that document each of these sections and talks basically through what I've just showed you. There are also documents that will tell you how to fill out those other Word templates that go along with these. Videos and images should be delivered separately but as part of the package. So for a branching, you would definitely need your branching Excel document. You will need your associated Word document that has your actual questions for the branches, and then you would need any video or audio that you intend to show zipped up into a single file. For media quizzing, you will again need your media quizzing Excel spreadsheet that we just documented today. You'll need your Word documents that actually have those questions that you're going to present, and then you will need to have the actual videos that you want if Cengage is not creating those for you. And that is the extent of media quizzing.